I think my students have done a great job. I really don't have to add much to it. That's why I choose to always speak at the last. And the time also runs out, so I can say a few things and stop it. In fact, today somebody asked me, what are you going to speak? I said, I don't know. I really didn't know what I'm going to speak. And now, okay, I have been, since I started putting up things on YouTube, I also thought, let me see what is available on YouTube. And I see so many things happening as far as what a guru is supposed to be. I thought I'll say a few words on that. Like one person has said, a real guru. A real guru meaning a Sadguru. Okay, that's called real guru. Sad is used in the sense of real. Has to be uneducated. You'll find such videos on the YouTube, very popular videos. He has to be uneducated. He is not supposed to be teach any theory or any philosophy or any shastra. Then my question is, what is he supposed to teach them? The one who makes the student understand the reality is Sadguru. The simplest definition of a Sadguru. If you want to look at it technically, Mahavakya Upadesha Karta. One who does the teaching of the Mahavakya. Because the Mahavakya is all of Vedanta in one sentence. If you unfold the Mahavakya, you unfolded everything that is there in Vedanta. Therefore, the Sadguru is called Mahavakya Upadesha Karta. Sadguru is not supposed to be giving you practices. He may give a few practices like some japa, some meditation, even some other exercises, psychological work, etc. That is to get your mind ready. That is not the main teaching. That is preparation of the mind. So that there can be lots. But just because somebody gives you some ways of managing your mind, then every therapist will become a guru. I know I met a couple of them who would love to be gurus, but they had to be settled down for becoming therapists. Why am I saying this? Because again, there is a book available which quotes a very beautiful Buddhist saying, on your path to nirvana, moksha, even if Buddha stands in your way, kill him. An arthavada, an exaggeration. So this therapist chose that sentence as the title for his book. And he has had a beautiful collection of stories from various cultures about what it means to walk this path, moksha marga. Unfortunately, every story has been misinterpreted. Why? Because he himself didn't become a student. You become a guru only if you have been a Shishya before. If you are not a Shishya, you'll never become a guru. And I'm talking about being a Shishya in this lifetime. Not say last lifetime I met my guru. Not enough. Yeah, last life. You may have met your guru in the last lifetime. I don't question that. That part is fine. What do you remember in this lifetime? Whom have you learned from? To acknowledge them is also important. So just because you are giving a lot of meditative exercises, like I remember this guy who's considered himself a guru. Students also considered himself to be a guru. This was when I was in Rishikesh years ago. And he came to Swamiji. Puja Swamiji, my guru, our guru. So Swamiji asked him, what do you do? You seem to be a chota guru with some students, etc. You have come. What do you do? So he talked about the various meditations he makes them do. So Puja Swamiji, in his imitable style, turned around and asked him, you like playing games with your mind? You love playing games with your mind. Because without the vision of reality, all that becomes just mind games. Some exercises, helpful. All of them are helpful. None of them are helpful. And the term guru is also very loosely used today. Financial guru, management guru, etc. It gives you the understanding that there is an expertise in their field, which is good. They're not uneducated. They got expertise in their field. That much is good. Yeah. But the word guru is reserved for the one who can make you understand that you're already free. You're moksha swarupa. The word is reserved for them. Actually, in the tradition, in the culture, the word is reserved for them. Bukaro andakaraha, rukaraha tannivartakaha. Andakara nivartakatvat, guru huti abhidiyate. Gu stands for darkness. Guru stands for the one who removes it. Therefore, because he removes the darkness of self-ignorance, he is called a guru. Therefore, how can he be a Mahavakya Upadesha Karta unless he has studied the whole thing himself? That's why another definition is Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Qualifications of Guru also mentioned, very clear. It doesn't mention whether he's a sannyasi or not. It doesn't mention whether he's a householder or not. It doesn't mention his educational qualifications or not. But he has to be well versed in the Shastra and be rooted in the knowledge himself. Brahmanishtaha. So without Shastra Jnanam, if anybody is teaching, it won't help the student. Somebody told me, one of my own students was idiotic enough to tell me that I know what the Shastra is saying, but without the Shastra, I don't know anything about the Shastra. So I said, why are you wasting your time and my time? What are you doing? Yeah, you don't have to remember every verse. I'll accept that. But if the highlights you don't remember, what are you going to peg your knowledge on? Some of the verses, some of the terms become important because it is on these that you peg your knowledge. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman is not a japa. It's pegging your knowledge. It's the definition of Brahman, Mahavakya. And those words you peg your knowledge on, therefore, you know, this is exactly what I am. Not what Brahman is, this is what I am. Okay. Each one has to say that. This is what I am. So you find a lot of sentences, words. So a guru has to be well versed in the Shastra. You can't not, because It's the Shastra that gives you the tools of communication. Communication at any time is a tricky topic. I know for years I've been doing communication workshops for corporates. I've put together a few principles of communication, methodologies, everything. It's at any given time, it's a tricky topic. And if through finite words, you have to reveal the infinite, you need a very, very systematic way of communication. And that is gained only from the Shastra. If you don't have the Shastra, you won't have it. You will talk something. You will come to, even I have seen some modern gurus without the tradition. Some of them are good in arriving at Tvam-pada. That means I am consciousness. Up to that, they come very nicely. But that this consciousness is limitlessness, that step becomes vague, if at all, or not there at all. Not there at all. Because the Shastra is not there. So the Shastra, the style, Adhyaropa Apavada Nyayena, you have a lot of Adhyaropa on yourself, on what you take yourself to be. Tasya Apavadaha, negation of that. By that logic alone, the truth is revealed. So all this you gain only if the Shastra is with you. And therefore, as a process of listening to the Guru, the student also picks up the Shastra. That is why in Vedanta, there is no separate teachers training course for being gurus. Some people think that we go to the ashram to study to become teachers. No, we go to the ashram to study only to know ourselves. I mean, I have been explaining things to groups of people right from my school days. You know, my next school, the girls' school, would very often call me to explain things to the scout, to the guide movement. When I myself was in school. So that made me popular with the girls. That was good. So I've been explaining things all the time. But believe me, when I went to the ashram, I had no plans to be a teacher. Absolutely no plans. I said, I want to get it for myself. I want to get that nishtha myself. So once I finished the 3-year course, I missed a few months in between because of the emergency period and everything. I used that as an excuse to go to Rishikesh. I missed 6 months of the course and spent 6 years in Rishikesh. All I was interested in getting the nishtha myself. Until Puja Swamiji called me and said, go. Confuse some people. I said, okay, we'll do. Guru Hakyam. I am willing to do whatever the Guru said. Like all my students know, I can't sing for nuts. But if my Guru had said sing, I would have sung. Okay. Thank God he didn't say. Thank God, not for myself, for all of you all. Okay. Probably he knew his student very well. So, this rootedness in the Shastra is necessary for any teacher. I'm saying all this because I saw a lot of new faces. Okay? And all other gurus are called acharyas. That's why you will find there are 2 separate days dedicated to teachers. One is Guru Purnima, where really speaking, only the spiritual tradition is honored. The teachers in the spiritual tradition is honored. The parampara is honored. You pay respect to the whole parampara of teachers. What about other acharyas, etc.? Dasara is the day. Dasara is the day where all other acharyas are honored. Whether it is music, dance, martial arts, anything. Dasara is the day for that. Guru Purnima is Vyasa Purnima. Vyasa's birthday. I have told you all the story of Vyasa long back. Maybe some other time I'll tell you all that again. That takes some time. It takes some time. Chosen as a Guru Purnima because Guru of Gurus. Guru of Gurus. Therefore, the spiritual tradition is honored today. Spiritual and more specifically, the Vedantic tradition. Because how else are you going to know the truth? What is spirituality? Spirituality, really speaking, is a vague term. We are constrained to use it in English, but it's a vague term. So, Moksha Marga, we will say, Nivritti Marga, Moksha Marga, etc. That is where Guru Purnima comes into the picture. Because without Vyasa writing the Brahma Sutras, the whole analysis would not be available. So after Vyasa, the teaching became a bit easier because you have the Brahma Sutras to refer to. After Shankara, it became even more easier because he explained the whole thing. So if you follow that, the teacher can't go wrong. Of course, a good teacher will know when to drop that and explain things in a contemporary fashion as well. Every good teacher knows that. Or rather, should I say, every good teacher knows how to explain the Shastra, and a great teacher can become contemporary also, like how my Guru was. Okay. So that will be a good place to stop. Om Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhangine Yomavat Vyaptarupaya Sri Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Namah Pramavarthaya Shuddha Jnana Ekarupane He Ganga Tira Nivasaya Dayananda Swamine Namaha. With that, I bow down to the whole parampara of teachers and offer my respect to them. And I hope the parampara will carry forward with new teachers coming up among our students. Om Tat Sat.